Hey, I'm Decathlon Gamer, and welcome back to PCM22 Career Mode. This is episode 34. That doesn't seem right. 54. And we're at the UAE Tour. First year in the World Tour, and it's Stage 7. And last season, we proved that we were not quite there when it came to GC. We weren't terribly far off, but we were definitely not quite there. Early this season, not only are we proving we can win in different disciplines, but I think here, now, in this UAE Tour, we're starting to show that we're not far off from GC anymore. Let's see how today goes before we pronounce ourselves capable of top 10s in GC. This, of course, is just the UAE Tour, so it is not the same type of race that you're going to get in others. 8.5K to go, uphill, straight up we go to the finish line, and we're through the first phase, or almost through the first phase. We're going to go around this right-hander, and it's going to ease up a little bit, but then it's going to get steeper again like it is now for essentially the remainder until you get to the finish line. So that means the domestiques, they need to gel up right now. They are not going to last too long at this rate. Let's slow things down. Ineos really, really pushing. I think with Martinez in 7th at a minute 16 down, most of that time being lost in the time trial as we're seeing a couple guys pushing, trying to make a move, I think he could and should be aiming for a top 5 today. And you see guys chasing this down, and 2 riders have gone clear. But that chase is going to put a lot of pressure on this field as we go forward. And I will sprint train this thing probably just based on how this team is. Now, the other alternative is trying to attack with Abner Gonzalez and get up there with, these two. But A, not my style. And B, what's the point of gaining 20 seconds with Gonzalez when he's in 11th on minute 44 down and, we need to be riding for Martinez, and Martinez is going to be best led out by Gonzalez. So that combination, I think, is going to work better. With 6K to go, I think it's a good time to get on with it. These guys are on their gels have kicked in and whatnot. And so we're going to get Gonzalez. We're going to get Bano. And we're going to get Panamar. Ooh, Panamar drifted way back. Panamar is going to take up the rear for right now, try to catch up. Bogli. And I think Vashek is probably looking, yes, Vashek. The next one with McKellar out front. And they still have a little bit of red bar, and we're not having to go 99 right now, but we do want to go about an 88 with McKellar. Let's see what that'll do for him. That's not enough. How about a 90? 90 is about a right pace. We are still chasing those guys down, so we are okay. But that pace lifts a little bit as Romo could only go so fast. I think he used up his red bar. That's McNulty. Okay, McKellar is going to be out of red bar here, so we're going to move on to Vashek, and McKellar is going to try to take up the rear. How are we doing on the Panamar chasing situation? He is still chasing, but he's hurting himself going so far down. 3.7, so yes, tempo is what it needs to be right now in this chase. Vashek is done. On to Bogli, and we're going to go 94 here. 3K to go. We got a front 2. We've got 2 ahead of that, and then we are in a very strong position otherwise. McKellar, Panamar, and a gap has formed momentarily. Vashek is actually closing that gap, and Panamar is out of reach. And Vashek is done with his day, essentially. And Bogli is kaput. We're going to move on to our leaders. We've got 3 guys left. 3 guys left because Panamar is out of contention. 2K to go. But no. You have 94. Bogli. Try to break that toe behind briefly if you can. Got a couple stowaways with us. But Bogli's going to fall back. Panamar, still trying to close that gap as best you can, but you're not going to. But there's the big gap, and off we go. So suddenly here is that race situation. We have 7 riders chasing one, and we've dropped everybody else. Covey, Plop, McNulty, Roglic, with my 3 guys, and the one off the front is Buitrago, whatever it is. Bonneau still leading us out, and we're down to 1.2k. So Bonneau attack. Gonzalez attack. And Martinez attack for the line. Buitrago's going to win the stage, but can we get a second place? It's definitely a front 6 that are going to get a time advantage over others, so this could get us into that top 5 that we're hoping for. But no, and Gonzalez right there with them. I feel like we could have actually pushed even harder in this one going earlier with a sprint train, but either way, that was a sizable gap, 43 seconds to these guys. We did not have a 43-second advantage, though. I would imagine we have about a 25 to 30-second advantage over those 3 chasers, who are then another 10 seconds ahead of the next group, which at some point is going to be everybody. And here are those time gaps. So Buitrago, 19 seconds ahead. Plop, McNulty, my 3 guys, all in the same time. I thought Martinez finished at the front of this group. It really looked like it. Looked like he was clearly ahead of Bonneau by almost a full wheel. So not sure how the bike throw at the line came out that way, but it's okay. It's okay because we are going to get time gains over most everybody else. Covey lost some time for one. Roglic lost time. Yeah, we left him behind. Simon Yates had 51 seconds to Skjelmos. Pogačar, 58 seconds down. Wow. And so here is the final standings. McNulty claims the win ahead of Plap. Simon Yates to 3rd, and Lenny Martinez up to 4th place, hanging on to a 3-second advantage over Buitrago, Russell, Gloag, Colleoni, and Gonzalez gets into the top 10 as well. 2 seconds away from 8th, but 9th is great. What a result. And Bonneau ends up all the way up in 14th as well. So great team result. And I do think it shows that we're not ready to win GC-wise. I don't think we're ready to really compete podium, and the UAE Tour is not a Grand Tour. It's not. It's not the same thing. Teams aren't as strong. The race isn't as tough. So don't take our 4th place as that great of a sign, but it's absolutely a sign that we are moving in that right direction and that we are definitely not as far. Gonzalez got a top 10, and that was the guy we were riding with last year. Martinez is built for this a little bit better, not by much, but that little bit more, and adding that piece as opposed to a piece just getting better, right? The same piece. It's another piece. So the other pieces were all still there, and now you're adding one on top of that. That's just that little bit more. And it's not quite enough, right? We're not quite there yet. I think we're back edge of top 10 in a GC situation if we wanted to go for one. We're not going to this year because, we're still only just back edge of top 10. But there's other races. There's other tours. There's other stage races that we're going to see this year that we might go for it again and continue to see how we're progressing, how much closer we are. And by next year, I think there's no reason we shouldn't be competing in the GC. Right now we have 100% evaluation. However, we have not had any of our top 5 objectives of the year, though our number 1 objective is August, so it's after the signing period anyway. But, for our top 4 remaining objectives, we haven't done any of those yet. So there's still significant impacts on the sponsor confidence ahead of us. We're not quite secure yet, but a top 5 in Strade Bianche, which we have right now, would absolutely push towards that edge. Likewise, the Giro is starting in it's 2 months. Sorry. Milano Sanremo, these 2 here in March. If we're able to succeed in both of these, I have zero reason to believe that we would have less than a full evaluation and get that 203K for next year. So these next couple of races for us, Strade Bianche and Milano Sanremo, at least in terms of sponsor objectives are going to be key, either in splitting, which will keep us pretty steady up here and maybe not guarantee things. Like, you win both, you're guaranteed for the year. Split, you're still in great shape. Fail both, especially if fail bad, and we could definitely see that sponsor confidence fall at this point quite a bit. And then, the season becomes a little more in jeopardy. A lot more work would need to be done to secure the full evaluation. So, 2 really important races coming up. First is Strade Bianche, but we are well set for it. We're not taking our absolute strongest cobbled rated guys, even though we are technically on gravel for this one and not cobble, but we do have most of our best flat guys. We've got a decent amount of climbing ability. We're bringing not quite the strongest team we could have at this race, but we're definitely bringing a strong team to this race. And you see with some objectives and fitness peaks, we are looking at an expected plus 20. Is that the highest I've seen? It's close to. It's definitely close to one of the best expected race day conditions we've seen. Now, will we get a plus 20? No, because Panamar, if he gets a plus 5, it could have been a plus 3 draw. And that plus 3 is going to be offset by somebody's minus 3, most likely. And we wouldn't see it with Panamar because he'd still have a plus 5, and Vashek would have a minus 3. I wouldn't expect a plus 20, but I certainly do expect to have, a plus 17, plus 18 for this race, which could put us in pretty good shape. Strade Bianche getting underway, and we are nowhere near the plus 20. We are plus 12. Plus 12. Harsh. Potimarr Huggins do get their plus 5, but nobody else did. And, these two easily could have had more than a plus 5. We don't know what that would have actually amounted to. Whatever the case may be, it's a pretty rough draw. The weather is also pretty poor, though. Could be a factor. Here's what I'm looking at for today's race. I think we're going to need a combination of ratings. I'd say the 4 biggest ratings we need today are hills and acceleration, along with, you don't need it as much, but you need it to not be bad, cobble and mountain. So those 4 take the cake. Then the next tier, the third tier, I suppose, is your sprint, flat, stamina. If you have those things, you're looking to be in good shape. We will compare these guys as we go along and decide who we want to ride for. You need the mountain because there's a lot of undulation throughout this course, and most of that undulation happens before the end. Hills matters more because it's definitely a punchy finish, and it's not a mountain race. For that, mountain's only so important. If you have a poor rating, well, then you're going to be in trouble. But if you have a decent rating or better, that's enough. Hills, you absolutely need because the finish is punchy. Cobble, you absolutely need a little bit, but with it being gravel, it's not bad, but it's the length. And a couple of the hardest areas are gravel undulation periods, where that combination, you need the mountain and you need the cobble in that part to get through it. Otherwise, you're going to get dropped. So it doesn't matter if you're punchy, if you're well off the back. Love this race. Absolutely. Huge fan of this. For me, this is the 6th monument. Absolutely, hands down. I don't know. I have an appreciation, I guess, for cobbled races, for gravel races. Frigo, Bausch still trying to get in position. We're struggling with a 75, but that's because the brake is still not fully established. I don't want to push any harder. Bausch in the middle. Frigo still not fully established sitting on here. 2-star, tougher gravel section, and uphill. There we go. Frigo gets to the front. One rider. Are we going to have a one-man break? Wow. Well, that's definitely going to set the field up for a big push from the Peloton. But how long do we wait to move? Bianche finally making it forward. Okay, so Bianche has a 70 cobble, but he's not good in any of the other areas. So he's definitely a domestique for today. And Vandenberg on a -1 does not have stamina. His cobble's okay, but he's a terrible climber and he's, not that punchy. The acceleration sprint's great, but he's missing too many pieces. So Vandenberg, Bianche, there's 2 domestiques. Vashek has a 0, so let's check in on him. He can climb. He is punchy. He does have acceleration. He's got enough cobble. There's a contender for somebody we would want to ride for. Frigo. With a +3, 72 mountains enough. 80 hills is great. 73 acceleration isn't so much, but cobble at 75, stamina at 78. Frigo is a contender. What about Mikkels? Mikkels can't climb, so even though he's good on cobble, so there's 2 contenders and 3 domestiques so far. And I'm guessing Huggins and Panamar are going to be in the mix, but we got to figure out who, what. Cobble 80, mountain today 75, 81 hills. That's absolutely one of your guys. So Huggins, let's protect him. Panamar, 74 cobble today that's enough. 77 mountain, that's definitely enough, and 80 hills and 73 acceleration. So Panamar, thanks to the race day condition, is in the mix. So let's see, Bianche. Who's the other one? Was it Vashek or Mikkels? That was off. It's Mikkels. So, do we want to protect Vashek or Frigo? Mountain, slight advantage to Vashek. Punchiness, Frigo. Acceleration, similar. Sprint, that kind of brings Frigo up, so about the same. 78 stamina is better though, so let's go ahead and go with Frigo as the protected rider. Vashek will be the 4th man. And we are through the first phase. Biggest climb of the day is coming up right now. It's 5.5K, but it's only 5%. That one rider has a 5.5 minute gap, so right now we are just riding nice and easy. Let's speed things up until we start to close that gap down and increase our speed. 6.5 minutes. 115K to go. Probably a good time to get water, so let's send Bianche for that. Into the second phase. A lot of cobble. Oh, sorry. I keep saying cobble. A lot of gravel. A lot of gravel through here. And we're going to slow things down here in a moment through these next couple climbs, just in case. Position's good right now, and we are closing that gap, so let's speed up a bit here to an 80. We don't want to slip back quickly, even though it's going to expend a little more energy. We really don't want to slip back quickly, as gaps form very fast in this race. And as we've pulled back a 1.5 minutes on the solo rider up the road, we've already sped up. And you can see like Bianche is going backwards really quick as a couple guys are drifting back. Down to 4:45, and we are about to exit the second phase of gravel. There you go. Flat for a little while. Flattest section of the entire race. Look how flat it is. Well, it'll flatten out here after that. Never quite flat, is it, though? Even through here, we're getting little hills. Little bits of undulation. But definitely the flattest area. Bianche slowly recovering. We're at 81K, so it's a little too early for water again. Though it would be a perfect time to do so. And actually, we have we have our next best opportunity right in here to get water. So if we get water now and then get water there, it adds one more time to getting it, but you get it at a more opportune time, which could ultimately make life easier. Luckily that wasn't Bogley. Bogley's not here. Bagioli goes down, and that was a big crash. That brought out a lot of riders. Gap down inside 4 minutes already, and we are about to enter phase 3. And it's here in phase 3 where we're going to have those steep undulated areas. I would expect the pace to really, really pick up before we enter that. But this first portion I think is not as bad. It's 1 star, and it's got that climb right at the end. There's Bianche. Done. And again, I was wrong. There's a lot going on here. This is apparently a long 6K. 65K left to go. Positionally, everybody's still up here at the front, so they are holding on nicely, and the Peloton showing signs of shrinking. There's that big climb, and we get out of it. Be on the gravel, and we're almost into that sector where things are going to really, really pick up. At the moment, Peloton just split 45 riders. It'd be ideal if that held, but it's not. It's yo-yoing. But I think during this next phase, or this portion, the back half of this phase, is going to be where we're going to see things take off. This 2-star and some steep climbs. So Bianche is looking a little haggard, so we will use his gel now. And we want to go to about an 85. Even if it uses more energy, we've got to hang on through here. Alright, here's one of those bigger climbs. This is one of those reasons why you need to intensify the effort, as we've got a healthy climb happening right here in a 2-star gravel sector. And we're at 52K, so that water is going to happen in the near future, and probably with a split group. 54, 36 in the Peloton right now. We're seeing the field split. Secondary part to the climb, and we're going to get over that one. Still in one piece, still near the front, but look how stretched it suddenly is. Bianche needs to up his effort and move forward. Effort up. Bianche is fading. He was protecting Ponamar, so that means who is our solo man? Bianche? Yes. Bianche needs to now protect Ponamar. Positionally, we are strong. We're doing just fine. Look how far Bianche is behind. And now the field starts to split again. 2 riders off the front instead of 1, by the way. So 1 rider attacked. It's so hard for a solo rider this far out. It is Wright, though. Fred Wright. Pretty dang good rider. 65 chasing 2. This is what I wanted to see. Now, Vandenberg's almost done. Mikkels is going to get water as soon as we exit here, and I think we're coming up on the exit now, so Mikkels, get that water while you're not having to drift that far back to get it. Anson falls, and Vitz withdraws, and Mikkels still chasing, and just 36 in the Peloton. This is a great scenario, as we only have 1 rider that we've lost so far, and we're into the final 37K with numbers. Mikkels needs to use his gel now. I see how quickly this is burning through our guys. This tempo, this push. 2 at the front. 3.5 minutes. Oh my goodness, how did that happen? I thought we were down to a minute. How did they pull that far away? We haven't sat up. We're going like full gas here. Almost full gas anyway. I don't see how they pulled away. I mean, we are dropping riders because of the tempo, and yet those front 2 just pulled out 2 minutes. Maybe we're not going as fast as I thought. You guys just making contact. Bianche falls. Bianche falls, and he's going down with some others, is he not? He is. He has a group of riders. We'll check on him long enough to see if he rides on, but his day is done, at least in terms of contention, so we will set him to auto. Down with him. Carr. Magnus Corneliusson. Kwiatkowski. Hamilton. Was Adria in that? There's some good riders back there, though. Vandenberg has been dropped. He was out of energy. Mikkels is almost out, so we're down to 28, and still chasing those two. But the push, the drive is going to be on here. 26K to go. And we've got 3 guys looking really strong for this final push. But can we catch the front 2? Gap down to 245. Frigo is going to be the sport guy, right? Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. So let's switch this up. Nichols starting to fade. It's not taking long for riders to get dropped, is it? Covey and Mikkels both out of the back, and big old gap. Momentary split here. As a few guys at the front are putting their foot down. Right now it's still an easy enough chase, so you don't need to worry about it just yet. 2 guys get a brief glimpse of the front. Bausch with the fall. Check the profile of what's left here. 20K and 3 riders. And this is one of the biggest, but it's the sector after that one. The next couple, the next gravel sector is going to really decide the race. This one, and will make a difference, but the one right after it. But with 20K, we're going to do this. Who's the better sprinter? And puncher. 80, 81, and a 70, 75. Where it's a 67, 73. So Huggins, Ponemark, Frigo. Frigo's going to take over at the front, and we're going to push on here pretty hard. Let's see what a 90 will do in terms of tempo. He's got to get past his teammates first.
And he's not getting back up. It looks like he'll have to abandon the race. Fall in the pack. Apparently, the leader is on the ground.
21 chasing 4. Now it's 19 chasing 2, or was there a split up ahead and it's just recalculated? I think it's just recalculated, but Frigo is dropping some riders, and we caught 1 of the front 4. Now it's just 3 off the front, but it's still 2 minutes and 40 seconds. And we are down to 15 in the group, so a lot of guys not able to go with the tempo. Guys trying to attack right now, but Frigo setting a difficult tempo to attack on. When we get to this next sector, though, we're going to push even harder as we pull back Wout van Aert. We're down to 13 in the chase group. Remember, our objective is top 5, and that is still possible with 3 riders up the road. Right now we're looking at 4th place. Frigo attacking harder, 12K. Short and steep there, but what I want, do I want to escape? No, we're down to 11. Still chasing the front 3 though, but they're all split up, so that makes it easier. Frigo, just give me a 99. You have the yellow bar. The red bar is gone. It is not quite at the tempo, but it's still enough to drop somebody. And enough to not get dropped here. It sets up the final 2 guys with 9K to go. That's 10K we just got from Frigo on the front. So that's making it a little easier to kind of estimate what's left for Ponemark and Huggins to do. But Frigo nearly done, and Ponemark is going to take over now. Frigo, good job. Good job. Can we split this group up some more? I would love to. Drop a few more guys. 6K. And Frigo gets dropped. Nobody else yet, though. And somebody else just got dropped. Out the back, DeWolf. Stan DeWolf. 4K to go. Up tempo. Can we catch? There's 2 riders just 19 seconds ahead, and we have that final climb coming. 3K to go. Via Santa Catarina. And it's cobbled. It is cobbled. 1K to go. Attacking now. Ponamar leading out Hoggins. We've caught those guys. Can we get our top 5? 1K to the finish line. Hoggins set up for his sprint. He's going to come out and attack. How's he looking? 500 meters towards the finish line. 1 rider still off the front. They're going to claim the win. Victory for them. Wow. Okay. Nurla Kasim has won. Van Barle has taken second. Mahorich. Hoggins gets 4th. We needed a top 5. Tough race. Tough opponents. But we did it. Solid. 4th place. Ponamar gets 7th as well. Frigo gets 13th. Really good team result. And completely impossible without those race day conditions. And that was a plus 12 when we should have had the plus 20. Imagine if we had the plus 20. But like I said, I didn't expect to get it. I was expecting something along the lines of a plus 17 though. Maybe a plus 16. Plus 12 was really harsh. That was a bad draw. That was a really bad draw. Only 2 guys had the plus 5. So there was only the possibility of 2 riders with any hidden pluses that we didn't see, since it caps out at plus 5 on what their draw would have been. Still, we got the result we needed. That's one of these 2 results during this period in the books. So that's already ruled out the possibility of losing both and having that costly circumstance. We've already claimed one. We just need to claim the other. And the other, top 10. The other's a slightly easier objective. So if we can get that one, then obviously we're golden, I think, for that 100% the rest of the season. For now, 1 out of 2, if we mix, still could be tough to get the 100%. Still could have a challenge, but even just getting one of them, I think we're in pretty good shape. That is going to do it for this episode, though. I'm Decathlon Gamer. Like, comment, subscribe. See you next time. Have a good one. Be safe out there. Bye for now.